Yes.
All right.
Okay, we will call the Harrington regular council meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Roll call, we have a quorum with Stephen, David, and Creighton. Gavin did call in, said he's gonna be running late, so he'll probably pop in about 20 minutes from now. Recognize visitors.
Tim Holken.
Welcome, Tim.
Lucas Becker.
Audrey Lynn.
Welcome, Audrey. Okay. We can rise and pledge our allegiance.
See, I figure I just stay standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's weird not having Randy Behrens around to gripe about the way we're singing.
Okay.
Well, it could be sung. No.
As is customary, here in Harrington, we do have a public comment section at the beginning of our meetings. Anyone have anything specific to address? All right.
And for what it's worth, I don't mean to be condescending if this is already obvious, but we used to only have it at the ends, and then there are people who sat the whole meeting through just to talk to us at the ends. So we do it at the beginning and we do it at the end so that people can bring their grievances at the start and yell at us at the end if they want to.
Some people have things to bring to the council that, they want to address, and I don't think they want to sit through a discussion about the minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Well, by the time you get to the end, they're probably cooled off.
Yeah, not always.
if they're still here at the end.
There's a graphic.
Lock the door, Cass.
Okay, on our consent agenda, are there anything that anybody saw that they wanted to have removed?
I do have a question about it, but can I just do that when we...
You can do that in discussion.
Yeah, I'd rather do that then.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Any additions to our agenda?
I got at least 3. One, the letter that we received from the landlords of this
Okay.
location.
We can address that in the mayor's comments, what we can
Okay.
do before. That's fine.
Well, and I guess some of these probably are in the mayor's comments elsewise. It was at least 3. We're going to talk about the well.
I think it's on the agenda, actually.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you're right. I missed that. Irrigators
Which
Code.
one?
Irrigator Inc. Well,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And then talk about a citizen complaint for a property.
Okay.
And I think that was it.
That I don't have, so, okay.
You guys?
Yeah, 2 of those were ones I were going to bring up.
Okay.
And the only other one would be the lawn care, and that's my question on the checks. We wrote them a check, but I thought, I watched the last meeting and I thought we were, so if you could
Oh, yes, that was another
If
one. I
you
was gonna
could,
see what the update was.
enlighten me on
And that's
that, I
on
would
my list.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll address that in the mayor's comments, if that's cool to do.
I just got one for you.
Okay, yeah.
Citizens' concern over the Memorial Hall freezer going out or something to do with that. Just clarification on what happened and the cleanliness of it. There was a complaint.
Sure.
I don't know what's going on. It's just a discovery, general
I'm
conversation.
familiar with that, and I can shed light on that. Anything else?
Where does the city stand on any cold patch or for potholes? Any back to that?
normally an inch or two lower than they do on the surface.
Yeah. That'll work.
It's a joke.
I know. I got it. It's just higher than that. But
So they have, well, I can address it. They've got a number of bags of cold patch.
Okay.
To get those addressed, but please, if you have something specific, I mean, there's a lot going on in town, so if there's something specific that you're seeing, then let us know so we can focus on it.
I was just thinking more of a prep. You know, there are some potholes that need probably, will need addressing, but fall, and we're going into winter, so I
Well,
mean.
right now is the time to address it.
Yes, is that we had the material or we need to
Yeah,
get the material?
We should
Yeah.
have it on deck.
Okay. And I think that's,
Oh, I almost forgot. I also would like to mention some comments from Lions Club. You weren't there, so you don't know what I was going to say. Well, maybe you do. You were.
I was there
Okay.
the last meeting.
Oh, the last meeting. Yeah, you're right. I forget which one you were going for.
Anything else?
that's good. That's
Okay.
enough.
Yeah.
And sorry to be rushing through it. I mean,
Well,
we've got a lot to cover.
I think
so.
Right, so,
Okay, next on the agenda is just to coordinate with you guys to get a couple of workshops going. And I may have actually, since we typed this up, just gone ahead and scheduled it, but would like to have a water budget, water rate specific workshop on the 22nd.
of October.
Yes,
Okay.
in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Claire Miller has offered, who works with the Department of Commerce, has offered to come out and kind of give us some of the things that she sees and that she knows are priorities on how water rates are set. So I figured that would be as good a time, because I would like to, following up on that, on the 29th, to have a public hearing, have a council meeting with a public hearing, and possibly have a preliminary budget approved. So,
So reiterate, you'd like to set up a October 22nd workshop.
yes,
At what time?
probably the earlier the better.
To be
I
determined?
mentioned We could, well, I'd like to nail it down tonight so we can get, Claire knows when she needs to be here, because she's coming from Spokane. So 6 o'clock, would that be okay, or would?
Do you want to throw a quick meeting before it to get any? Do you want to? Sometimes we throw in a 10-minute meeting before it to clear checks and then move on. I don't know if that's necessary or handy for the treasurer.
Well, let me check. Cassie, if we had a quick council meeting to address some routine, would that work?
No real discussion items, just
Okay.
yeah, I can do 6 on the 22nd. I'm a little curious / dubious about getting something initially approved on the 29th because right, we're gonna set 2026 budget before we get the water rates changed.
I was hoping that we would be able to do it all at once in that evening.
I think, well, I'm willing to try. I think that's ambitious.
Well,
We can try.
If we could come to, some understanding of what that should look like on the
Yeah.
22nd by the end of that, then
We can get a shot.
we could have it out in front of everybody. So,
The sticker shock?
Perhaps.
Six
we're gonna try to
again.
if that's okay,
Yeah.
just trying to be.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is
Yeah,
I
6
will tell
PM.
her 6:15 so we can have a 15-minute council meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's open to the public,
Of course,
So-
workshops are open to the public, so
clarification for everybody.
But not broadcast.
yeah, we can
Traditionally.
shut off the broadcast after. Okay, so it's 10:22. And then I'd like to, like I said, just schedule a public hearing to review the possibility of having, but I've got to advertise that.
Remind me, what's the how long do we have to advertise?
Well, and
that?
actually,
24 hours, isn't it?
I believe it's two weeks beforehand.
Well, for,
There's another reason for having a public hearing, so technically there'd be two. We are at our infamous real estate excise tax adjustment approval that has to go before a public hearing also.
Don't public hearings have to be advertised with purpose, though? I mean, we can't just say we're having a public hearing and then throw whatever we want to into
Well,
it.
agreed. It'd be.
My concern is that if we schedule something for the 29th and we can't come to an agreement on water rates or whatever on the 22nd, then we've got something that's already advertised out there and nothing to necessarily show for it by the time we get to the 29th.
So-
I kind of would like to get past the 22nd before I know whether we're committing to a.
Okay.
Could we do the?
the
Could we
fifth.
do the public? Yeah, the 5th would be fine, or at our next council meeting in November,
Which is the-
which would still be earlier than previous years, but I'd do the 29th or the 5th too.
November 5th?
Okay. So
Well,
let's
it's
just
already
plan on
November
meetings,
somewhere.
we'll nail down.
'Cause I think
exactly.
even under a
But
best-
We have to advertise the public
Right.
hearings ahead of
Right.
time, and we have to have a public hearing at a minimum before our real estate excise
Right.
tax. That has to be turned in on it's due by the 30th, but
Of
the 26th is the last working business day. Yeah, November 30th,
November 30th. Okay.
yeah, so,
So are we doing the 29th or not doing the 29th? Or are we playing by ear?
well, we could throw the next item on there. We could have our wastewater treatment plant workshop on the 29th.
Okay.
So can you talk to me a little more about what I read your email, but what do we need to exactly hammer out about the wastewater treatment plant?
It's not, the bigger important is, it is a huge issue.
Yeah.
And I would rather address everybody and have a discussion on that topic alone, all at once, in a workshop.
October 29th?
And,
Yeah.
and it could be, we don't have to call it a workshop, we can just call it a public meeting. Or
Well, I call it workshop, the public is invited, we
Yeah.
can tell them what it's,
So, it just,
what it's
it's
mainly
been going
about.
on since 2019, and I think it's important that I'm trying to put this thing to bed as soon as possible, but I don't want you guys to be completely blindsided what's going on.
Well, how long do you think you need to?
Half an hour, 45 minutes, where we can stay as long as you guys have your questions answered.
6 PM, the 29th?
Well, I'd be more inclined, in order to not be hitting these in too much of a row, to do the 22nd, the 5th, and then we would otherwise have our regular meeting on the 12th.
5th is out for me.
5th is out for you.
Well, it looks like you guys have a Lions Club meeting that night,
Oh, that's right.
The 5th?
the 5th, yeah.
Okay.
That means it's out for me too.
Okay, tell you what, we'll
I'd rather do it at 6 on the 12th before the council meeting.
On the 12th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, you know what, we could do it at 6:30 on the 12th for the wastewater treatment plant. and
Yeah, because you
just-
said you need a half hour.
and-
Okay.
And just
Yeah.
Do you
hit
need,
it, and
do you think a half an hour is sufficient?
I can, yes, well. as
If
long as
you're
we're- as long as
questioning
we're
that, I'd
focused.
rather meet at 6 and get,
And then twiddle our thumbs for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
okay,
So then you want to put the public hearing in the 12th meeting then?
yeah.
So nothing on October 29th, it's.
Because that then gives us a little bit of time when we get together on the 22nd. Either it goes well and we'll be assuredly in position for the 12th, or we're going to find out what we need to still work on, and we'll have 3 weeks at that point to get it fully hammered out to make sure that we're ready to vote on the 12th.
And that's at what time?
6 on the 12th. 6 on the 22nd, 6 on the 12th.
Okay, they're both 6 o'clock. Yeah.
and nothing on the 29th?
Correct.
Okay.
So Joe, do you feel like that gives enough room for everything that needs to happen?
I think so, we just have to stay focused,
Yeah, we'll make
And
sure
stay
that
at the
things
topic.
come out.
so.
If my own 2 cents, I think, I wouldn't pigeonhole ourselves, but I think we get more done in a workshop than a regular meeting.
Agreed, yeah.
because we have other obligations during the meeting to.
Yeah, and I'm happy enough to meet on the 29th as well. I just don't think we should commit ourselves to the public hearing that day.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
If the 22nd says we need to look at this again, then on the 22nd we'll say we'll put another meeting on for the 29th. I just don't want the public workshop there until we know we have a ducks in a row, because
Okay.
we've kind of thrown this water rates issue out in public hearings before and not had our ducks in a row. This next time I want people to say, this is it, these are the numbers, yay or nay.
So just to let you guys know too, we've done the research. You can technically, I didn't know this, but we can adjust utility rates, not garbage rates, but water and wastewater treatment plant without a public hearing. It's not considered in good taste, but legally we can. It's also recommended that we don't initiate or put them into place for at least 60 days after they're implemented or approved. So it gives time for the cycle to go through.
Okay.
Let me turn that off. Okay. So we kind of hit both of those, the wastewater treatment and the water budget meeting. Okay. I sent out documents to you guys for, and I don't have a printed copy of them here. We have gotten a just under $500,000 loan for the purposes of having the engineering done. So it doesn't actually include the work, but it's for the engineering work to be done to replace the water mains in Hull in Harrington.
That's an awful lot, isn't it?
It is a zero interest loan. It is a 10-year payoff. So the state is waiting to know if we are going to approve that or not
You said this is for the main water lines?
for the water mains.
Water mains, okay.
Yeah, to replace, basically, to do all the engineering work on what it's gonna take, where do they go, where are they relocated to, just to do the engineering work, not the actual construction. The water system plan identifies that they need to be replaced.
Okay, because I was going to ask you.
But they're not going to get replaced wholesale. They're not going to get moved to their right
They-
locations.
And then, well, unless we get, his thought is we could, it may be possible, but there's so much of the budget stuff that's up in the air, that when the time comes, that loan could get rolled into the construction project to have them replaced. I have an opinion on this, and I will express it if you guys want to hear it, but I won't.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
Yeah.
As much as it is nice that we have $500,000 at zero interest, it's still $500,000, and the city's in some pretty decent debt already that existed even before we all took these chairs. That effectively amounts to about $21 a month per household in Harrington.
Extra or is it-
To do this.
Above
Yeah.
work, that's what it costs to service that loan for 10 years. With all the other things that we have coming up, with funding being such a big question mark, I mean, the state went from throwing money around left and right to suddenly we don't have any money and we're charging for everything. I mean, the state auditor's rates went up. I mean, we've got all kinds of things going on. So my personal opinion is not that it doesn't need to be done. I'm a little bit nervous with everything else that we were going on to try to address that all at once in that big a chunk.
By the time we came up with the dough, a grant, whatever, to actually replace it, all this engineering would probably have to be redone again.
Outdated,
anyway.
yes. Because to Creighton's point, we've already done some preliminary stuff, and we're talking some years ago, and it just keeps the snowball itself.
Yep.
So I'm really against burdening any citizen or the people of Harrington on something that's, because 500,000 is a lot just to
Yeah.
sit there and hold a pencil up and say where the heck the
Well,
lines go.
when Steve was here, he was like, "Well, what kind of money do you get after you get your water service plan?" He goes, "Oh, we got a lot of money for this town, this amount." I'm like, "What was the grant amount? What was the loan amount?" Well, it was a good rate, but it's like, I'm sorry, we don't have that kind of money. This is why we buy a vac truck, because we're doing our own work to replace things as needed.
So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the water system plan still needs to be put to bed, and I'll address that later on. Because this was kind of putting the cart in front of the horse. And the only reason they started looking into this was because they knew that funding with the new government in Washington DC was going to change. So this went into the works in November before everything changed, and I get that. But now we're at where we're at, and Washington State, I don't think is going to see manna falling from heaven from the federal government. So,
If this is what would unlock, if we had a promise of free money basically after this to do it, I'd probably pull the trigger. But I think to the point of,
the water system plan, which is already bought and paid for, is the key. This is
Yeah.
just getting ahead, but you're right. I mean, his engineering thing could say, okay, we need to have, although the water system plan is gonna do this to a certain degree also, so we need
Right,
X number of dollars to do
Yeah.
this. Then we get the grant, and quite honestly, it's like our wastewater treatment plant. The engineering comes first, and then the actual work comes along.
And that's another subject I won't bring up. I mean, exactly. Yeah.
So,
But I-
but we've been, this is a chunk, this is $499,700 that is out there for us to sign for. I want a definitive answer. It's not mine to give.
But it's a 0% loan.
0% loan paid off over 10 years.
move to decline.
Second.
Third.
Okay, we have a motion to move,
I mean,
decline.
we should be looking at, if it was actual work, pay for something.
Yeah,
actual work,
0%
put the
actual
line
things in the ground,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah, but there's not one pipe in the ground.
No, it's just somebody with hot air.
So we
yeah.
do, okay, so we have to do this correctly.
I think-
We have a motion, I don't know where this is going.
You're off the hook, Mayor. You're good.
Okay.
Stephen and Creighton.
And Creighton. Okay, so we have a motion on the table to decline the loan for the engineering for the water system main replacement. Any further discussion?
Negative.
All in favor of declining the loan, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll go 3-0-0.
Thank them for their offer.
For asking.
But-
I will be very gracious in
Yeah.
saying thank you, but we will
Yeah.
pass. Okay, thank you. Okay, now for money that we really do need to spend.
Yeah.
Okay, did you guys
I did
get
not
the
see-
revised, updated
Did
Minutes?
wait, you're talking about irrigators.
irrigators? Yes.
I did not
Okay, here it is.
I didn't see it.
that anywhere.
It was just,
The trouble is, I can never find it once I see it.
Oh wait, it was in the original email, not a reply. Got it. I missed it, but yeah, okay.
So this was after our last, where we all realized that what we were looking at was not going to get the job done.
So why the difference?
The last one was a pump that was putting out.
here's it.
Yeah, I see it.
Well, I know that the last one was wrong, but I'm like, did they not understand our requirements, or why did we get one that was wrong?
Correct.
Okay.
He thought the job of the pump was to fill the reservoir.
I found it.
So once I explained to him that the pump has to not only fill the reservoir, but has to pressure the city at the same time, he got it. So he had to actually do quite a bit of research to find a pump that he could maximize with the space that he has to put it down there. So that's a 202 gallon per minute, which would get the job done.
Mostly in the winter.
Yeah.
Is that,
And that's sunk deeper, so we may not, we can test it during the summer to see if we're gonna have that same issue.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that this will run dry. It'll be deeper, so it should stay wet.
You just
but
need an output.
The output won't keep up in 90-degree weather. We run over 200 gallons per minute in peak summertime.
220,
Yeah,
yeah.
barely, but enough that it will drop 10% pressure.
Yeah.
did you need this
But-
back,
but
Mr.
it's-
Mayor?
Not that the people
No,
above
just
the tracks will know the
print it out because
difference.
So anyway, that's the bid to get that job done.
So I have a question about this. Maybe we should move to accept this so we actually can have some discussion about
I
it.
move to accept the proposal from Irrigators Incorporated.
Thank you.
I'll second it just for discussion's sake.
Okay.
So I have a question. Where does this, if we do this, where's this money coming from?
It is
New water
coming
rates.
from,
Do we have to borrow the money to do it?
no, I mean, our reserves are gonna take a hit, but we have money in reserve. And something that we'll be discussing probably later, not necessarily tonight, but it'll probably come up in our discussion of the financial institution. The money that has been in the reserves, which has been largely in the LGIP, it has been getting a very decent interest rate over the past 5 years. And I don't have the numbers in
Not
front of me
5
for that, but it probably, that alone probably.
$86,000 in reserve for the water fund,
How much?
approximately 86,000.
So there,
Total or
mu-
interest?
And
there
that's,
must be,
And that's, I'm not talking about the LGIP.
That's without the
That's just the water reserves
Yes.
that we have.
and we do have other reserves too, I assume. Sometime I would love to see a spreadsheet of actually where all this
I'll
is.
make one.
yeah, she can.
Okay.
It's hard to understand, and that's why we
Well,
need
I
to do
know.
that translation.
I
I need
know.
to do that translation work I've been talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, we'll spit out this spreadsheet from Springbrook. And it
Yeah,
is
Well, I've seen that and I don't,
Yeah,
that is gobbledygook as far as I'm concerned.
so, yeah, it's easier to understand and quicker if we just convert that into.
Okay.
So, yes, the reserves are there.
So that loan that we accepted for $1 million,
Yes.
what was the rate on that?
It was 3%, wasn't it?
2.38, I think.
Over how long?
20 years.
I don't have enough sleep to do
1.38.
the math on that.
1.38% for 20 years.
1.3.
Yes. Well, effectively 1.4.
So we'd spend more on interest of that loan than we would to do this.
Oh, yeah, I don't have that in front of me, but I'm sure.
Well, yeah, for 20 years.
Yeah.
You would.
It, okay, so excuse my talking.
No,
from
you'd
the
end up
background, but I've
with
got
something
pretty-
different. I mean, if we did that, you'd end up with a much better.
Yeah, it's
result,
it's a $1.2 million loan and grant. The actual loan would be $1,021,700 over 20 years at 1.38%, which also ironically added up to $20.30 per house.
Yeah, I think that's what you're.
That's right.
But you actually got something for it, not just engineering.
So, no, and mind you, that $1 million or that 1.2 would put a new hole in, all the pumping,
Right.
all the
It'd be a different
the
end,
whole
yeah.
shebang. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a hole that's crooked, and it's got a bunch of junk in it.
This does include removing the junk.
Okay, so what is this all going to be done in such a way that so what happens if they can't remove the junk? Or if like, if he's purchased the parts already and we find this is not going to work, which I'm not saying he's purchased them now, but if he said, if we approve this tonight and he starts going, there's at least 2 or 3 different things in this that could sink the whole endeavor. My question is, how much do we commit at any given point of monies that can't be refunded? Like, it's one thing if when we did this well, there was no question it can be done. We just got to get the parts. It will be done. Spend the money. It will happen. $77,282 does not guarantee that with this well down there.
So I asked specifically about getting past the bend, and that's why it's a 4-inch pipe, is to be able
Right.
to do that. I did tell him that, if it didn't come back out,
That's fine.
it's probably okay, it just has to work.
Yeah.
I did address the corroded air tape that's down there. He said he's got stuff there, he can go down. His first plan would be he'd go down and he would try to wrap up and get all that stuff out. He's done it before, so he says it's pretty quick. Let that settle, put the camera down there to make sure that it's clear. If something's not getting picked up or clear, he can then send another tool down, and basically he would pound it into the very bottom.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. but you're right. We still don't have any guarantee.
Well, yeah. What if he can't get it past the? I mean, I'm hoping he's sized this such that it's the biggest that can work, which means where margins should be small.
No well's a guarantee.
Well, but we aren't digging a new hole. It's a question of
Yeah.
can we repurpose it? So, and we know it's damaged. So,
But I think they know that, and these guys do enough of these. I don't think they're giving us a sham.
yeah, if they're going to guarantee it, that's fine with me.
But how are they guaranteeing it?
Yeah, I mean, what are they guaranteed?
Yeah.
That $77,282 is going to give us a working well. Are they willing to take on that liability, or is that our liability?
Can for another $3,000 we buy some kind of insurance plan if it doesn't work?
Or just
We
to
can
know,
pay him and we don't.
or let's
take it
say,
yet.
if he has the call and say, well, we'll never be more than $10,000 into it. I'll know with blah blah blah, right? I mean, then at least we can know we're only risking 10,000, not the whole 77. Like if he can, put some of this in, and I don't know. I just hate to do 77 grand and then something doesn't work, and at the end he goes, well, come on, I mean, it's a bent shaft and I mean, you guys knew you were taking risks, right?
You're just full of good news tonight.
So I can say this, worst case scenario, because really the question out of that, at the end of the day, knowing what we know, is this stupid bend in the hole. Worst case scenario, he could drop it to the same depth that the pump was there for 100 years.
Right.
And we
Still
would
should be able to pump water
we would be
to
no
a
worse
point.
off where we have a winter and a summer well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon to have a cattywampus or a dogleg well, especially something this old, because rotaries weren't available back then.
We think we know why it got a bend in it. It's because they had to
Redrill.
redrill
Yeah.
it. The first well was 70 feet deep, and it was running dry, so they pulled all the stuff out, and then went to redrill the shaft, and of course, once it got to
Thank-
the end, it just took it,
1956.
or even before.
That's what my records show, the history of it. It was straightened in 1956, so obviously it was probably a little crooked.
Well, yeah. We were also told that the pump was hanging at 120 feet, and it was not.
What was it at?
70.
Okay.
They didn't hang the pump any further deep than that bend.
Well, without doing any drawdown tests and stuff, output, we can't tell what the static recovery is going to be or anything like that. So punching it down deeper,
Yep.
you might not have that issue anymore.
No, we should go as deep as we can.
I'm just saying worst
Yeah.
case scenario.
Yeah,
You know, if
it's
we
a-
bought the
it's a fair
equipment,
point.
It can't go any deeper.
Okay,
than that.
so the only other question I guess I have,
Yeah.
So this is gonna get the other fun electronic stuff so that these can theoretically talk to each other.
Yes.
What is the end state of this? That they will be able to talk to each other, or he's actually gonna wire these things to talk to each other? And what wire is gonna be used to go from here to there?
It's not included. The biggest thing is I had him include getting the controller box so that
Okay.
which is supposed to be the exact one that we have right now. So a duplicate of that one.
Right, okay.
That way we know they can talk to each other.
Okay, so the end state of this, it'll still be a manual switch, but at least it would put us in position for.
Right. Until we figure out how to make them talk to each other. Which I think is important to do. I think it's
Well,
having.
we've got fiber connections at both places, so there should be something easy enough.
Yeah,
Welcome to AI world.
yeah. Yeah, that comes under like a lead balloon in some places. So, anyway, the motion on the table is to approve this, and that's the discussion we're having.
Okay.
So that's a modified one from what you saw last time with a bigger pump with a higher capacity.
Oh, okay.
So that puts out 202 gallons per minute.
Whereas the other one put out.
Well, the first one you did, I think it was like 60 or 70.
Oh, wow.
Is this a 3-phase motor?
It's a variable, yeah, it would be variable 3-phase.
Yeah, the other one was an 1.5-inch pipe, and this is a 4-inch pipe. So
Are the old ones 1.5 inch?
the first quote that you
Oh,
first
yeah,
saw
okay.
was an
That
inch
wouldn't run my
Well, and
sprinklers.
the old one,
Don't want to give away.
well,
what you see.
the old one that they actually pulled out was only,
I think the casing and everything was 5.25 inches.
yeah, but it was, yeah.
You're sure we have the money, Cassie, right?
The reserve fund will cover this.
Okay.
It'll take a hit, we'll have to build it back up.
Okay,
So that'll be a topic to consider when you're discussing the water rate changes.
okay.
Do you have any other concerns that you would like to say as a treasurer?
At this time, I do not know.
Ooh.
Okay.
If it's any consolation, that was the first question I had for her. It's like, can we even afford this?
Well, it's not uncommon that council's done it before, has raised the rates up a certain
Yeah.
percentage to cover the cost of that, and then they went back down.
And I think that
If you're,
it's somewhat fair to say you're living in a town with two new I mean, they're not
Well,
equal, but
And after going through last
Yeah,
summer,
you
I
should
think
appreciate
most people would be willing to pay the extra water rate to make
Yeah.
sure at least we have something to drink,
yeah.
even if my wife's flowers die.
I mean,
Not
we
my
talk
flowers.
about bang for the buck of how we got out of that mess, and then what we're getting out of this one for. Is it perfect? I'd like to have two 800-gallon minute wells, but dollars spent, this is a killing deal for getting both of these wells in the course of what, 5 years?
Well, of course, two.
Course of 2.
and it's practical.
Yeah, yeah.
In the course of 5, we have not only that, but we also have a more
Under the
reliable way to
railroad
get
tracks.
the water from here to the other side of the tracks.
Yeah.
So,
I'm fine personally voting yes, but what I would ask is for you to talk to him one last time and talk about liability if anything goes wrong. And I'm just going to put trust in you to say that, I mean, there was some risk. I'm fine with some risk, but if he's like, oh, it's all on you, or is there any red flags, you're like, that's not what I thought at all, I'm going to trust that you don't move forward until we talk about
I'm
it.
not really thrilled about putting my name on a $77,000 check that turns out to be a disaster. So,
Yeah, so just as long as we do our due diligence with that, I'm good.
A, we know the wells there. 2, we know the specifics of it, far
Yeah.
as where all this stuff. I believe these guys are a reputable company that deal in irrigation wells and professional enough. If it couldn't be done, they wouldn't give you a BS.
I will add to that. I mean, there's always things we didn't think of, but I think we've covered a lot of bases. I think we've answered as many questions as we realistically can.
That's just life. I mean, you buy a new car, an engine can go out on the way home from Spokane. I mean, we know stuff here, and it's just going to have to. But to address Stephen's concerns, maybe pick his brain, how confident, you know,
Yeah,
is this
that's
for
all I'm-
sure, you know?
It's worth taking a risk.
Oh, well, it's worth having that
But
conversation.
I just want to make sure we know what that risk is before we sign up for it.
Okay, tell you what, I will, he's been pretty responsive to a phone call, so I will see if I can't have that conversation with him tomorrow morning.
Last question, what is this, because if I understand, and I didn't see it all torn apart, but the way it came up before, it came up into that well, that there was kind of a little shallow well of what, 8 feet deep? What we could measure before?
Right, that's just like, almost like a chamber on the
Right,
side.
so when this comes up, what's this gonna look like on the top? Because there isn't, like, this one comes out of the concrete wellhead, everything's all nice and clean. That one's not the same kind of a deal, so when this gets done, how does this look at the top?
It'll look just like that.
Yeah,
And
but there
that
isn't
chamber that I'm talking about where we put the dipstick gun down, that is
Filled
now
in?
completely irrelevant.
Yeah, but are we gonna fill it in? Are we gonna concrete? Are we gonna gravel? How are we gonna dress
We will
it?
seal it in such a way that it can't let things into it, but we won't need it.
Is he gonna drive any new casing down?
Well, it's a, no.
In the, so
No.
to seal it, I mean, okay.
Question. Calling, no, I'm calling for the question. We need to vote.
Call the question.
I have kids and that's all the question. Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve the irrigator's bid to replace the pump at well number 1. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, that passes 4-0-0. Okay. So last council meeting, I had asked you guys to kind of think in the, you know, if there was something that you wanted to see hopefully be a budget priority or something for the city of Harrington that you would want to have added into the budget. So I just wanted to put it on the agenda so we didn't lose that opportunity to do something. And while we're at it, I will tell you the big ticket items that I got from Public Works. So,
I was curious to know that.
You got a list from them then? Okay.
they would like a bigger truck pickup. That one's a half ton with a V6, and it barely pulls the trailer with the Mini X through town. They've been asked.
a 3/4 ton or a 1 ton? Or?
Well, and even before we had that, they were asking for a 1 ton 4-wheel drive that we could use one of the many blades that are around here or whatever, and basically get it outfitted with a snow blade too, to use it as a snow plow that doesn't require a CDL.
So are they clarification looking for a bigger pickup or a 1 ton a truck? That to
They're
me,
looking for.
There's a
bigger-
difference.
They're looking for a bigger, a
Vehicle.
1 ton pickup.
One
We've got a
ton.
1 ton Ford, but it's 2-wheel drive. The flatbed's, and it's old and it's not gonna get that job done. I wouldn't tow the Mini X with it. I mean, that motor's tired enough as it is. So anyway, this is what they're asking.
Wish list,
right,
If
sure.
they could do. Some of the other stuff on here is pretty, it's not as big, it's not as big a deal. They do want a welder. It would be nice to get them a,
Yeah, get
Portable welder or just welder?
I don't think they want to go portable with it. They just want a welder in the shop. And they just want a stick welder.
Stick, no
I
MIG?
mean, I think if you find a welder right now that's
Well, some of them go do
it's
both.
tough to find a stick on welder anymore.
Get them that as
Well,
soon
that
as
stick-
possible.
So
I thought, didn't somebody have one of those? Didn't we do that already?
there was one in there, but when they tried
Not good, right?
let's just say the sparks that were coming out of it probably were
Coming out
not,
of the cord?
well, actually from within it, like the armatures
Oh,
were.
wow.
That and the air pressure, or the air compressor they had were both, they turned them on and they started sparking, so it was just like, we're not using these, so. They would like a sweeper, a street sweeper of some sort.
You know, you're not talking about a little John Deere, a little brush sweeper. You're talking about a vacuum sweeper type
He
thing.
came to me with a really cute relatively small sweeper that would get the job done, but it was still 15 grand.
Street or sidewalk? Just
Street.
Street, okay.
Street.
I'm just writing it down, make
Yeah.
clarification.
I don't know what they cost. I have seen some devices like that were actually like a trailer that was tow behind. But just putting it out there, that this is some of the stuff they're looking for. I put out there, and if we get a truck, this is irrelevant, but if we don't get a truck, something like one of those side-by-side working John Deere mules or
A truck's cheaper than that.
Yes.
Just to let you know.
and obviously I'm not talking about brand new, because I know you can drop 40 grand on one of those things.
That thing that was at the fall festival,
about
that's
80.
almost 50.
Holy crap, okay.
Before the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This might be a dumb question, and forgive me, but you can't tow anything with a Vector truck, can you?
Hadn't thought of it. I mean, it's heavy duty enough, but
Like,
Like the trailer
equipment
and the
trailer or
Maniacs?
something?
well, there's an argument. A lot of times they have to, both those pieces of equipment have to be there.
At least sometimes.
We could look.
Especially if they have a welder, they could weld. Maybe if the frame has a good, but at least it would be nice to have a backup, something that the truck is in the shop. I mean, maybe it's not what you want to do all the time, but if it's capable of it, we should make it. I mean, if it's otherwise capable of it, has no tow point, I think it's worth seeing if we can put a hitch on it.
Yeah, I just know that what they got right now, if it's January and it's icy and they've got to take the Mini X up near the tower, they're probably driving the Mini X up there because the truck probably just spins its wheels trying to pull that much weight. So anyway,
Right.
it's just
Yeah. Okay.
for living in snow country, having a 4-wheel drive work truck.
You need a new one-tonner.
So,
Anyway,
question:
that
how
was-
many vehicles do we need? We got a 1-ton. Like, is there a vehicle that could replace both the pickup and the 1-ton? Do we need two?
A 1-ton.
Well, I'm
I could go
just,
bigger than
Yeah.
a 1-ton.
Really?
Yeah.
you know, something that
'Cause
does
they wanted
all
to
those
plow stuff,
functions. The flatbed is going to be needed now more than ever. We've already determined that after paying to have the backhoe
Right.
repaired, that we're not gonna use that to haul somebody's dirt that they've
You're not
asked.
gonna
that we-
ferry back and forth.
Yeah, we're gonna put it in the flatbed because it's got a tilt bed, so it'll go in there to get dumped.
I'm just wondering if part of the solution to that would be some kind of trade-in or exchange value on the current pickup truck, and then get the 1-ton out of our hair as well.
We'd have to pay him to take it.
You might
Well, the
1-ton.
The white truck is pretty
I hate the
versatile.
white
It's-
truck, too.
It's pretty done. The problem is, it's got a short box and it's got a V6. And it was, during the middle of COVID, it was about the best deal that Nathan could find, so.
Right. There,
um,
but ideally, you should have your runaround maintenance trucks, chasing dogs, sprinklers, lawn, whatever. And then the next step, construction vehicle, light duty, heavy duty, or whatever. But patching a pothole, I mean, I'm not talking about throwing cold mix in a hole. I'm talking about saw cutting it out and doing that. Or hauling gravel to a site that you have to fill the hole up and, you know, work on a line. You need something, you need a medium-sized dump truck
I would say if we had a
for that.
1-ton 4-wheel drive truck that we could put a plow in the front
With a lift bed?
with a tilt flatbed, that
What are you
would,
talking about? Like one of those F450s or F550s?
550s, yeah.
well,
I
that
think-
would be, well, that would be super nice.
Honestly, guys, I think a pickup, a 1-ton with a blade on it, and don't beat me up, but my experience tells me it's way undersized for what you're plowing snow want to do out here.
Yeah, I'm not talking about replacing the snowplow. That would be just to like do the touch-up work on the side and, you know, clean it back.
For
up.
cleanup like that, yeah, you could, but if you want to stick it in a position like the city, what we have now, you'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean,
For what?
realistically, replacing the 1-ton would be, I mean, the 1-ton flatbed would be the most beneficial for getting the most utility out of it. Anyway,
Right.
How would your little international scout do? I think
Oh, do pretty good. That thing weighs damn near 6,000 pounds.
So with that being said,
Buy that.
that's their list. Do you guys have anything as a council that you would like to see?
Well, I'd like to see them get the tools they need.
Yeah, the welder. For, yeah.
And maybe, wasn't there, what are they, pressure washers, any type of stuff like that? I mean, acetylene torches, if you're gonna weld, you might as well cut too.
Yeah, I didn't address that because I'm pretty sure we very likely might be buying those anyway
Oh,
on a different topic.
What was that? Oh, no.
weed eaters.
I mean, this is their full list. I only hit you guys with the
Right.
In general, I think we
Biggest
kind of spent next year this year.
We did, and I have warned them that they have.
I think a welder we can still do, but
They don't have a chainsaw?
The chainsaw that they had was not working, so what chainsaw they've been using their personal ones, which I'd like to get them away from doing.
I would recommend they don't do that anymore
mhm.
because it's just,
They are out there looking for the ones that the one that Ken has is really, really nice, and it really, really works well, and they're really, really not expensive if you can find them used, lightly used.
what's
So-
that,
Is it
chainsaw?
steel or?
I can't remember, but I know it was
Husqvarna, steel.
Yeah, it was one of those, and it was so much that Lance actually went out and bought one for himself. So,
Okay.
but I mean, do we have any lofty ideas citywide? Just a new gazebo, a new water park. Just
Pickleball courts are all the rage right now, guys.
They're playing pickleball up at
They
the,
want pickleball courts.
they're playing pickleball
all the
up the tennis
cities,
court
all the
right
cities
now.
want more working
That's a good
water
place for it.
in and out more than they want.
Get some
pickleball.
use out of that thing. Flights and, so you're asking, the public works list is, we got that, but you're asking other little projects or other little,
yeah, I was just sharing that with you because.
okay, how are the Christmas decoration hangers and stuff for the buildings? How is that, how are we set for that?
The
That's Lions.
That's Lions Club.
has really
But-
taken that on, and
You
the
guys
city
have-
hasn't seen anything from that.
But I mean,
Or
I'm the committee.
so there's nothing the city could help out with anything?
There
on the
really
building?
isn't
Okay.
anything.
Except let the
Just
old people
paying for
know.
the light poles.
Yeah, we did.
That's a big enough contribution.
The big thing is once we put them on the sidewalk side, that helped the light pole situation
Right.
immensely. We did end up with one angel down at the Tokyo Way station on top of our truck.
Okay, that's make sure they notify DOT of the height required.
well, they've been turning. If they collect an angel again,
They're on the sidewalk if they get an angel.
they're wearing
Right.
one of our light posts for so.
Wasn't it last year? Correct me if
It
I'm
was a
wrong.
couple years ago.
That-
Last year they were all on the over the sidewalk.
But
But
Over the
they
street.
were unaware of the
they
height
were
restriction.
moving something that was way over height, and they
Okay.
caught the string at the north end of town.
Okay.
And they stopped there. That at least they didn't hit the other three. Once they hit one,
They stopped.
and that's the highest one of the whole bunch, is the one that they hit.
Well, and we also potentially have Memorial Hall. I mean, I don't know that we're going to have a lot of discretion with anything. We've got so many things that are going to be mandatory to
Yep.
I mean, fix and work. Yeah. Yeah, the memorial hall's on the list
So
too.
let's
Aren't you in buildings and
let's
with?
put Memorial Hall on there for just for funds for a project. I mean, even if we don't get a grant or funding to do it, the kitchen definitely needs some things.
Well, there's some
replaced and
funds I
repaired.
think we can get for Memorial Hall.
Okay.
Talk to Mr. Zeiler.
Anything else? Can we move on?
We've already had some discussions.
Well, and bucket
A
joint.
fly trap?
Okay.
Tennis racket electric one.
So, Councilman Budrius wanted us to address tonight, hiring, oh, let's just let you run with it, David.
Okay, well, as you know, we've, some of you guys are fairly new, but something that Stephen and I were here for is the Cemetery Endowment Fund. And, what was it, about 4 years ago now? We went through that pretty extensively, maybe 5. And, Stan Roth did a lot of research on it. And consequently, we stopped at that. We didn't ever actually come up with the statement of principles
Oh,
were
the statement of
in,
principles.
were in the works but never finished. And that being that somebody in there that would manage or look after the funds and invest it correctly. And it's kind of been just, okay, well, we'll park it in this US Bank for a while, which was doing anybody a favor. Then we got out of that and went to the LGIP, the state. And at that time, it was commingled. It might have been commingled before too, which I don't know. This is on YouTube, so I won't say a whole lot, but that's probably not the best thing to do.
I actually looked up the law. You can, for investment purposes, commingle the funds.
You know that for sure.
I just found that out this week.
But nonetheless,
But
it's
you have to keep very clear
not
records so
been-
you know which goes to which proportionately.
Right.
But, yeah. No,
But nevertheless, it's not earning what it should be. And we've tried getting people that are interested in the cemetery and take due care for it. And we asked them to be part of the board of trustees, actually. And it's not a cemetery board, it's a trustee board that manages the financial end of it. That's separate from the aesthetics people, that look at the, whatever. And they declined, so it is my recommendation, and I'm looking for input from you folks, or fellow council members, that we turn it over to somebody that does this professionally for a living and manages it.
so looking at the law, which is, we've said this before, for the state laws for cemetery management are probably the most comprehensive on the books. And quite honestly, easiest to read. I did not think that you could hire a money manager, but you can. What David has in his hand, I don't know if this got distributed or not, but we have got the breakdown.
Sure.
We have got the split out. So at this point, the money that is sitting in the LGIP is
Split.
cemetery money. 100% cemetery money now. The funds that were the cities were pulled out. They're sitting in the money market waiting for direction on how we're going to address that. That was done before I found out that we could actually have them co-joined in the LGIP, but until we get this topic figured out.
Well, so I know that David had, I think you said you approached some people to try and be on a board. I approached some people. Neither of us had any luck. Chris and Janice claimed that they had a number of people interested. I never heard who those were. I think as long as there is a potential for an interest from the community of forming a board, we should have that in place first and have them direct funds. So what I would recommend is I think we should make one last push. If the council can commit to beating the bushes, and we'll ask Chris and Janice for names of who they knew. And I in that way, if we can't find anyone a second time, then I'm going to consider it a lost cause, and we'll just have to take charge of it directly. But I think before we make financial decisions of hiring a firm or anything else, we should try and do everything we can to put that board in place that was there originally and was disbanded and everything. It's probably better for them to have the primary fiduciary responsibility before us. But that's just my 2 cents.
And I can appreciate that, but given the history of the inception of that board, members were dismantling weeks and months after they were on it.
Well, part of that because I think Stan's research cited that city council was very invasive, and the mayor at the time was also rather invasive into the operations, and they felt, I believe this is almost a direct quote, that the board disbanded believing that they did not have any control over the cemetery.
Exactly,
And I think to this city council's credit, we've done a better job with things like the library and other delegated authorities to try and let them run and give them respect that they're willing to put in their time. I don't know that the outcome would be the same.
But there is a distinction. There was a board that was set up, there's a trustees from the statement of principles, and then there's the board that was set up was to manage the cemetery, like mowing and other stuff. There was a separation, and by law for an endowment, for IRS, anybody want, you have to have these in place for its classification. Otherwise, we could end up owing back a lot of money if you don't have a board of trustees watching this. And to me, you can try it, but I wouldn't recommend. I mean, these guys this particular firm handles endowments and that are worth a lot more than $500,000, which is a lot of money, by the way. But
So is the next step that you want to recommend, David, for us to talk to a specific firm?
this guy would come down here to Harrington. He's willing to come down here during a council meeting or whatever and give us a spiel or talking to and go that route. Now, he said that not a lot of the firms, financial, there's a lot of them. This one happens to be particular at Raymond James. I personally know him. The family's known him for years and years and years. And, has a track record. But he does handle other endowments, and that's what they do. And right now, to me, it's a no-brainer. Somebody to put this to work, because if I'm donating money to the cemetery endowment fund, I want to know it's actually going to make a difference.
Well, I think one thing we would have to establish as a council, or that board would have to establish, is what is our risk tolerance, because part of why it's been making what it's been making, historically there was a feeling that the endowment had to be in some of the safest possible assets in order to not have loss. And if that is your assumption, it's probably been performing pretty good. If you look at the market in general, it's been performing poorly, but the market in general has a lot higher risk profile than the LGIP does. So whoever is going to own this needs to decide how much risk are we willing to say to the public, oh, we lost 10% this year because the market tanked. I mean, maybe we are, but I don't know how anybody, an investment firm or anybody, they're going to ask you probably to a certain extent, well, how risky are you going to play this? And I don't know that we have an answer to that question yet.
Well, that's where this wealth manager, he'll be able to explain that, and you determine that. You're not just giving carte blanche to it and going to go, get rid of it.
Aren't we, though, the council would ultimately be responsible no matter what, whether
Right.
we had,
As of right now, yes.
Well, either way.
even if
Unless
we
you had a
had,
board of trustees set up, then they would be responsible.
but they would answer to us, wouldn't they?
It's a delegated authority because
Yeah.
it's not
Well,
a
that
it's like
was-
the library board.
Okay.
That was the rub, though, is that they didn't have no authority. The prior board,
Well, right, but it's kind of like when we respect the library board, they treat it like their own, even though we technically could probably run roughshod over them. If we want other people to come alongside us and work with us, we need to respect them to the greatest extent possible as if it's their baby, is my personal.
I would
But
agree with that.
otherwise, everyone's got better things to do with their time than play theater.
right?
I'd be happy to listen to anyone, but if he wants to come
Ideas.
down, I'll listen to him. But I still think we should make one last shot at trying to form a board. So I'd say both, but that's me.
I mean, that's the
find
one
out if we
that I
can
know
put
of
them on
right
the-
now.
You know, here's what I'm thinking, whether there's an election to use those services or not of anybody, it doesn't hurt to have them come down
Yeah.
and present their case, their product, their abilities. So you wanna check with him and see if he's available to,
Yeah, he would anytime, so when do we want him, Dead or what
I think
meeting?
at a council,
council.
next council meeting on the 12th,
I'd like to hear what he has to say.
November 12th.
Okay, November 12th.
And like everyone else, we can put him early on in the agenda so he can get back to Spokane before the snow flies.
Yeah, you never know. November.
Farmer's Almanac says snowy winter.
Does it?
Total different topic. Is hunting seasonal?
Which part?
Saturday.
Any of it? This coming Saturday? Okay.
You said over, right?
Like done for the year.
No, it starts Saturday.
Oh, starts.
Modern firearm, there's been archery
Yeah,
since
it's
September 1st and there's
Also
been muzzle loading.
loading, yeah.
Okay.
So you gotta classify any more, what kind of hunting?
Well, specifically deer.
House hunting or deer hunting?
Yeah, deer hunting.
Does it?
Okay.
House hunting.
With that, we are at additions to the agenda. Letter from Mr. Slack.
I read it.
Did we all read it?
I read it.
I read it.
David, are you familiar?
I briefly skimmed through it.
So I would recommend let's not get into how we got here. Let's talk about how we're going to get out of here.
Okay.
So, and I would recommend let's talk about this in two separate parts, the basement and the outdoors.
Okay.
So, do you have, he asked for milestones and something that we can have an accountability to. Do we have a plan and milestones for the basement?
The Public Works, and I have not talked to them because I've been out, but they were to this week get that scheduled, because we have to schedule it with them because we have to go through this back door to do it. So, so they're supposed to get that on the schedule to get that done, if not this week, next week. The reseeding of the back here can be done anytime. It's just a matter of having that get done.
You might as well wait
And it's
till
not,
spring now.
and it's not sod.
He wants sod, doesn't he?
It was
What-
suggested initially that it would be sod, but Lance has much more landscaping experience than he does, and he said it's just way better and more even to just get a sand, dirt, seed mix on top of it to fill it in and just overseed it.
Okay, so, but before we leave the basement with it, when you say get that on the schedule, are you referring to getting it scheduled this week or next, or getting it scheduled to be done this week or next?
Both.
Okay. I would request that it become a scheduled date tomorrow.
I will confirm tomorrow what date it is scheduled.
Right, I'm saying that by the end of day tomorrow, there is a date
Okay.
that has been agreed upon with the
I have a
landlord.
suspicion it's already there, I just am
Okay.
not aware what it is, but I'll find out. Yeah.
Mr.
I think we're about 3 months too late on this to begin with. That's just my opinion. It should have been done.
Well,
I know you wanted to go what we can do now, but it should have been done. This has been 4 months since this has happened, and it should have been cleaned up. If it was our fault, it should have been cleaned up.
Mr. Mayor, to answer a question, what is the scope of cleanup or degree of the situation of the basement? Is it a cleanup thing only? Was there damage?
there's no, I mean, unless you get damaged concrete, it's basically a cleanup work.
Okay.
So
And aren't we currently renting that?
The downstairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like I'd mentioned, you know, if it was sitting against sheetrock or if it was sitting against anything else, it would have taken a higher priority. But I can't, the equipment that we needed to do the cleanup, I couldn't get here any quicker. Because the vac truck did not come with the 2-inch hose that I thought it did. It just had the big hose.
Well, and part of my concern though is I've been in City Hall a couple times and I've seen that our employees that work here have had to make certain accommodations because of the humidity and smell that's been wafting up from the basement.
So to address that, it was basically done, and it was not. It was all but dry down there. And then my understanding is the sprinkler system for this place got turned on, and instantly we had. And I knew this was an issue before we even rented it because I talked to the former tenants here or the former owners.
Yeah,
During the summer, water accumulates downstairs.
Leaks on the foundation.
It's a rock foundation.
It's a rock foundation,
It's been-
so it gets into the yard, it leaks down in, and it comes in. So at that point, that was complicating. So quite honestly, I shut off the dehumidifier because at that point, all we were doing was transferring the water that was coming in every night into the buckets, and it was just wasting energy. So and I don't know that that's not gonna happen. This could be cleaned up. This is our first, well, no, I guess it's our second summer here. I don't know what it did last year.
It's, yeah, I can attest that I know that when it was owned by US Bank, this is not the first time the sprinkler system had, yes.
So.
Do we
anyway.
store anything down there?
Hmm?
Do we store anything?
We were storing some paper records on pallets, and the water
We
was
lost
higher
a
than
box.
that. We lost 2 boxes.
Two boxes.
But fortunately, they were relatively recent documents, so they're all backed up digitally already. So.
All of our digital equipment was higher than,
Yeah.
So going forward, we don't put anything on the floor.
yeah. Or within the
And
first
there's no drain down there, I take it?
No.
No.
Okay. No pump, is there a sump pump or any type
No.
of?
And I would add that I think one of the things that complicate this is that in most property situations, there is a water meter that helps divide the areas of responsibility. That which is on the city side and that which is on the
Yeah.
property owner's side. That was not present in this case, and that is not the property owner's fault. That's the city's fault for not having a meter on the property. So I think it becomes
Then-
questionable
yeah.
exactly where some of this liability lies.
The water's a bit muddy.
Yeah, the water's a bit muddy.
Okay.
Yeah, so that problem has been resolved, which is why
Yes,
we have
yeah.
the second issue, which is the grass that got torn up in the process.
So for that part of it, there's 2 sides of that. One is fixing the dirt, the level, all that kind of stuff, and the other is the note to the irrigation system.
Yeah.
What exactly got tore
This is
up?
the first, well, when we put in the new water line, we came in off the alley. The one that broke was coming from the front.
Right.
So we came in, we put in a meter, and then had to come up and around the vault
Okay.
to the front. And one of the complicating factors is they were digging because the ground was so wet that what should have been a nice dry trench was just a muddy.
Gotcha.
We had to bring in plywood for them to run the mini-X on, so it didn't just sink and dig in. I mean, it was pretty moist between these buildings. So they packed it in as tight as they could, and it still settled.
Any damage or anything to the business next door?
No.
It's all good.
So do we have a plan for taking care of the outside?
I will address that to make sure that that's on the plan. I've been focused about downstairs. So
Can-
I did get, because I bought a truck of sand so they could do it, and then they told me it was the wrong
Color?
the wrong grade. And so they had to get, which is okay, we'll use it. We use it as bedding material. It's perfect for that, just for reseeding us. So they had to get more sand that they do have now.
Okay.
So.
Anything that could be charged to insurance play
Quite honestly,
into
a lot of
this?
it could be charged to insurance, but the cleanup for downstairs, I just know from experience, it's about a $30,000 job to hire a water mitigation company come in. And considering that our
Our rates are.
rates
Yeah.
got jacked up high because of similar situations in the past, it was like, we're gonna pay.
Pay one way or another.
Well, quite honestly, our rates went up that much, so what does another claim like this do? Send them up another 30 grand? I mean, so how do you pay it? In insurance premiums, or do you pay it in... So that's why, especially when I realized there was nothing down, like, the mud is not gonna damage concrete. So,
Stain it is all.
quite honestly, what I've been scraping, because I've been shoveling most of it up,
It might not damage it, but I think the greater point is that it's not our concrete to decide to let it sit on.
touche.
And as much as we generally can consider this place ours, and we do, it's not.
What is our contract? I mean, you were looking at responsibilities and stuff. Has any of that, and I should have read all that before, but did the lawyer get involved with this at all?
No.
I don't think we want that, considering again the water meter. Again, if there was a water meter and the break was on their side of the water meter, this would have changed the equation. But because that is not there, my understanding of how, whenever we've addressed leaks all throughout this town, we've had the discussion, well, what side of the water meter was it on?
Well,
And when we don't have that, I don't think...
well, there was no water meter at all here,
Right.
was there?
So where does the line of responsibility end? At the property line? Or, I mean, it was originally coming in off the street, so where does that exactly hit?
Do we have 2 water meters?
No, just one. Which is not uncommon for an apartment building or...
Upstairs is who's paying the water for upstairs?
Well, they pay the utilities for
They
both.
pay the utilities for the building.
The
If this was,
owners.
if this was
Yeah.
a fourplex, it would still have just one water meter.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what I can say is that, like I did with the weed, when they were getting the weed certifications, I'm going to ask about this at every meeting until it's resolved. On the other side of it, I will volunteer my time that if they need help with the irrigation system or whatever else, I will put my money where my mouth is
This
to
is,
say
this
I
is the
will.
first I heard that the irrigation system was an issue.
Well,
So,
nonetheless, I'm not just going to pick on this issue. I'm willing to help get it resolved.
okay. Okay. Anything else on that one?
No.
Okay.
I might be busy though.
Lions Club's comments.
They were generally good. I just wanted to pass them along that I asked the Lions how they felt the city had prepared itself as the city government, and they were quite complimentary on the whole.
For
Fall fest, yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
okay,
for
thank
fall
you.
for fall festival. They had noted that trees have been trimmed and many things were swept, and the weeds were generally under control. And I think there was a lot of positive vibes that were going there. There was a mention that in the future we need to make sure that the pit gets cleaned out sooner. But the club also noted that maybe we asked later than we should have as well. So I think it was pretty conciliatory. They were waiting, I think, to load the pit for a while because of how late it was in getting it cleared out.
Okay, I will confess I'm not. Does the
The city brings backhoe up to clean out the barbecue pit.
I did not know that. Okay.
And usually it happens about 9, and I don't think they got it cleaned out till 11, 12. I'm not sure when they did.
Okay.
Something like that.
I'll be straight up. I did not know that that was a function that. the
That's
city
always,
did.
well, it's just kind of one of those things that
Courtesy
happens.
So
Just happens.
And they might have had a water leak that
Yeah.
morning. There might have been a lot of good reasons, and they even said we probably could ask them a few days earlier. So no one was upset, but that was just
Yeah.
a note that I think we.
No,
And that's tribal knowledge on your part, on the city crew's part.
So,
and not good communication from the Lions Club part.
because we talked more than once about planning for how we were preparing for that, and had I known that was a thing, I would have made sure that that was addressed. You know, we coordinated what time we were gonna meet to close the roads, and what we were doing the weeks and months, quite honestly, leading up to it.
Yeah.
I mean, the sidewalks got repainted, so we could just have a better,
Yeah. So generally, it was all very complimentary.
Yeah, it was.
So kudos to the Public Works
Okay.
Department.
thank you.
Do need better signage though, coming down the Tokyo Road, because we ended up with a couple semis
And,
at the
and
park.
that's because they're blind, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I don't doubt
Because
that
we
one
put,
bit.
the signage that we normally allocate coming in off of 23 went up there because that was an issue.
Parked the old fire truck in the road.
So, but that is a recurring problem, our signage for the city of Harrington for these road closures.
And that's
gonna be
only gonna
something
get
I want to
worse.
get addressed here post-Clackamas is the bigger picture, which is getting every single organization that closes the road down for any length of time to get on the same page with the same signage.
Yeah.
And there's it's a whole thing, so, but we are running out of signs. We had one stolen at the car show, a road closed sign. You know, and they're $600-700 a piece, which becomes a lot very quickly. So, okay. Anything else on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Citizen complaint.
I was working in my yard and had someone come up to me to talk about the same property that Councilman Wagner talked about.
Okay.
I can look up the street location, but I spoke to that citizen and said that they should come talk to the council. They're not here tonight, but I said I would bring this up, that there's more emphasis being put on the weeds and the cats. I said I don't really know if the ordinances of the city allow for much with the cats, because one, I know we have dog ordinances and chicken ordinances and stuff. I don't think we have cat ordinances, and there's probably an argument to be made that the person says, "Oh, these aren't my cats, I'm just feeding them." So I'm guessing there's probably nothing there's nothing that probably applies to that. But I gave him some recommendations on how we could maybe address the weed thing. I would like to see him come and talk to council about it himself, but in the absence of that, I'm being faithful to his request to bring this up again, that the council would put some attention, urgency towards that matter, and I would be happy to inform the council which house this is off YouTube, because it's not really of public concern, it's the council's concern.
Well, a letter has been sent to that resident,
Okay.
basically giving 10 days to
30 days.
30?
It's written in our code book,
Okay.
30 days.
Okay. So they've been given a timeline already
Okay.
to get that addressed. If it is not, by our ordinance, we can go in, the city can clean it up.
And charge them.
And turn around and charge them. So
Okay.
the calendar is already in motion.
Okay, thank you.
What happens if they don't pay the bill? Does it get sent to collections or?
Quite honestly, the way the codes are, I believe on this case, the water gets shut off.
Yeah, you shut their water utilities off.
That's about our first tool that we have for compliance.
They aren't using it on the lawn.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay. We got that one covered? Okay. David, I'm gonna put these out of order. Do you want to have more discussion on the cold patches?
No, we're good. You basically answered that. It's
Okay.
just,
And I would maybe recommend that they would make contact with Jim Wilcox, and I will tell Jim again that I would recommend that he, especially since he is running unopposed for the council seat, and he will soon be joining us. He talked to me at one point in time about having recommendations about where to acquire some of those materials cheaper, having with his experience with DOT stuff, and so it's soon going to be a part of his baby as a councilman. So I think we should make sure that we're coordinating getting that stuff the best we know how especially since we probably could use a lot of it in the town as a whole.
Okay. After the election, so it's, you know, an absolute done deal.
Well, they can still talk to him as advice for a
Oh,
citizen.
yeah, again, no, this was kind of a side note to that. I would like to get him, unless you guys oppose, on the distribution list of this material. Would you guys get? Just
For
so-
anything that's FOIA of subject, yeah.
Just because that way he can read it.
This is all public
Yeah.
Yeah,
stuff anyway.
okay. Memorial Hall though, and I'm familiar with this, so I probably have answers.
The freezer and
Yes.
the spoiled meat and all that,
Yeah.
and then dirtiness, supposedly it was not being kept up for its cleanliness.
So I will take some ownership. Again, I wasn't aware, I thought senior meals was Wednesday alone. And
Yeah.
I just found out Sunday that they do it on Mondays also. Because I thought it was Wednesday alone, I changed the time that Memorial Hall gets its cleaning to Tuesday. Because I wanted to do as clean as possible before senior meals. What happened in this case is that the Lions Club had their dinner the week of that week. I don't know why, but a breaker, one of the breakers in the kitchen, blew. When I flipped it on, the fan above the stove turned on. I have a suspicion that that was left on, and just over the course of days or weeks, it's an old fan, you know, the old style that's built. I have a suspicion it probably got warm, it was unusual, and the breaker tripped. Because Lance isn't in there on Friday, he wasn't there to see it, even if it would have even manifested itself. He doesn't open the freezers.
Right.
So I don't even know that it would have been leaking at that point for us to even know or see that it was off. But obviously by Sunday, it was. And it had been off. Obviously, it was off long enough for, you know, packages of hamburger to thaw out. But they were still quite cold. So, I mean, they were still usable.
Able to salvage them.
Yeah, we were able to salvage most of it. The stuff that didn't get salvaged, come to find out the packages had been maybe torn in the process. We didn't know it because they were frozen, because there was blood from the other packaging that was coming down.
Yeah.
So anything that got blood in it got obviously tossed. The stuff that was still usable went to somebody in the community that could get it distributed to people who could use it in the community. So it didn't just go to waste. On the mayor's comments, I was gonna ask, and I know it's not an action item, but as was already, the agenda was already done. But, you know, if the council would see fit to compensate senior meals to get this meat replaced.
Do we have an estimate or an actual?
I don't have a dollar estimate. I know there was 20 pounds of ground beef. And this was all from the butcher in Ephrata, so it wasn't your Safeway stuff.
That'd be about $125.
So it was that. There were three packages of stew meat, 4 packages of short ribs, 4 or 5 packages of short ribs. There was a flank steak. There were 2 turkeys that were still mostly frozen, so she was gonna put those back in the freezer, so I don't think those got lost. And the rest of it was kind of like leftovers from the past, like there was a package of ham hocks that had been cooked and put in there to use at a later date, so something to think about. But yeah, this just kind of goes
Who
into
owns
is
the
it-
freezer in question?
I know who uses it. I'm assuming, you know, Memorial Hall is kind of one of those. I don't
No,
know. I'm assuming the city owns it.
No, senior meals are the ones that purchase those.
Okay.
And Lance couldn't have opened it anywhere
It's
because they
locked,
padlock them because they're
The
so
one on the
afraid.
North wall.
All of the freezers are senior meals. The only thing that the hall has is the refrigerator with the freezer on the top.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't, at least I haven't been in there since then, but when I plugged it back in, it started running. So I'm assuming it is not broken. But
But that was the only appliance that was affected by the
that was the
breaker?
only, yeah, that was the only appliance that was affected.
I'm not saying.
So
that
as
I'm
far as the cleanliness of it is concerned,
That was why.
it was, it was wear and tear and there was a chip crushed on the floor. I mean, and the garbages were, had stuff in them, but he hadn't been back because it's one thing we're gonna shift. Now that I know they're in there on Mondays, he'll go back to cleaning it out on Fridays. And we'll come up with a more aggressive cleaning schedule because it does need to be cleaned and mopped down. Yeah, it was dirty, but it had been used Wednesday night for a meal, so I get it.
I'm not saying that I'm opposed to compensating them for the meat, but I think it brings an open question that if they're going to have their appliances in our building using our electricity, what is our obligation towards continuity of electricity for their appliances? Because we can go past this one, but in general, if we have more breaker issues or that kind of thing in the future, are we always considering ourselves on the hook for
Liable.
such
They gotta
things? I mean,
understand there's gonna be some risk
Well-
having their stuff in there.
Yeah.
Just as an older
I
building.
think this was, literally the perfect storm. I mean, everything
Sure.
that could have happened did.
Is this freezer in question, was it officially plugged into an outlet, or was there an extension cord running to
No,
it? or
it's
anything?
plugged directly
It's
into the wall.
direct,
Yeah,
okay.
like I
So there's
said.
no monkey business there?
No, there's no.
It's got one of those clamps with the screws into the outlet too.
Yeah, yeah, no. So, like I said, I don't know why it overloaded. That's probably my bigger concern out of this from the building. Was it because the fan
Oh,
was
yeah.
running that long that the circuit got overheated and it tripped? Is the circuit breaker itself old enough that it's going to start tripping on a more regular basis? These are all
well, that's what I'm
questions we
saying.
need to
If
have.
we do this as kind of a one-off thing, I don't think we want to imply that we're going to guarantee them the security of our electricity and that we're going to keep doing this if it happens again. There are freezer alarm products and they could check on them, and there might be a part of this that kind of goes with the territory that's like, this might just be a cost of having things in the Memorial Hall. But
I agree.
I do too.
It probably is not a bad idea for a revamp of the
Rules.
usage agreement
mm,
for there, if there ever even was one,
mhm.
to just address these weird little things like that. I don't, nobody wants to make one too invasive, but it would be nice to outline who's responsible for what, so.
And I realize that Senior Meals is struggling for funds.
Yes.
A lot struggling for funds, but I'm not sure that the city needs to take on that responsibility.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm saying I'm not opposed to considering it between now and a potential vote, but I am opposed to the concept of us backing that security
Being
forever.
the loss of refrigeration,
Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah, agreed.
So
And we don't even know if it was the city's fault. I mean, it could have been somebody, I mean, I don't even know what tripped the breaker for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
could have been kids in there that served Lions Club that night.
Of course,
And
Like I said, that was the only thing that when I
Other thing
opened
that
the
went
cir-
on.
That's the only thing that turned on when I flipped that circuit on.
Yeah. All right.
And just for council's knowledge, the mayor now knows where the circuit breakers are.
Yes.
So I got a phone call.
Well, I would have found them eventually, but I thought I can be here for a half an hour looking for the bloody.
Yeah, they are
Or I can
kinda
make a
hid.
phone call and in
There
30
is-
seconds I know where it's at.
They are kind of hid.
I will say the nice thing about that circuit breaker box is it's abundantly clear which is popped.
Yeah.
Mine at home, you have to kind of grab each and every one and find the loose one before you know.
Yeah, stick your tongue in it and find out.
Pretty much. Okay.
Okay.
Is that okay? I
Yeah, that-
it was dirty, but it had been used and it hadn't seen the city worker yet.
But that's
We're gonna-
why is, and like you said, there's a lot of stuff going on. I understand everybody's point, but it is updating the usage agreement and responsibility.
Yeah. I
Probably go a long ways.
And it does.
It's unfortunate.
It brings to my attention that we need to be in there more frequently than once a week.
Well, actually monitor it more, I guess, would be the right
Yeah.
Well, and we need to make sure that there is an up-to-date calendar that can be looked at. There should be a single source of truth.
We do have that already.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of now paying attention to exactly what it is.
Okay.
I mean, I know when we have it, there's a wedding or some sort of thing
Right.
there, we take special because
Well, I know
it's
that's
unusual,
that's
but
part
it's
of
the
what
day-to-day
Deanne
operation.
manages, but I'm just saying that's something that needs to be consulted for things.
Okay.
Okay. Did you ever get your answer about support or reimbursement?
Well, it's not an action item, so we really can't.
A wink will do. Yeah. Because it's not some
Let me find out what we're talking about for funds to
Let's
to
get in
make
the
that
memo.
call and take it from there. Okay.
Mayor's comments?
That was additions to the agenda. Approve the consent agendas on the table.
Wasn't there a
It's,
Oh, yeah.
complete lawn care?
Well, that's in mayor's comments. I
that's gonna
think.
be addressed in
Okay.
mayor's comments.
So moved.
I have one question.
So you're seconding it to get in discussion?
Okay, I'm seconding it, but I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's, why are we, after the last council meeting, we ended the contract with the lawn care
No, we-
outfit, and why are we didn't?
We just sent a letter of
Okay,
default.
that's why we're still paying them.
And I'm going to go one step further with that. We will, you don't have to like this, but we, even if the contract was over and done, we are paying them 12 months for the work that they do in 6.
Okay,
So even if we were done right now, we still owe them for work already done until February or March.
okay. That's, answers my question.
And it's basically.
Did I second the consent agenda?
Yes. you
Okay,
did. And we can talk more about that one.
No, that's fine.
So, okay, so we have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Passes 4-0. Nothing was removed from the consent agenda, so mayor's comments. Let's just get right into that particular contract. So the letter of default did go out. He had 10 days to respond, which he did. Our attorney had more than one conversation with him about the best way to handle that. And he had one-on-one conversations with the owner of the landscape company. Some of the ambiguities in this contract were pointed out. So one thing that this contractor is asking for is, what does the city consider, quote, landscaping services, unquote, to include? Because that's all it says, and it's vague. And because it's vague, the definition of landscaping services falls on the people who did not draft the contract, i.e. the city. So when we're talking about landscaping services that we were intellectually expecting, I have my list, but I would love to hear what you guys.
Is he able to produce the addendum 1?
He produced
Appendix A.
something that was labeled quote 17, that he said was the addendum exhibit or whatever it was. To put it bluntly, the night that was voted on, we saw this quote 17, that's all we saw. Sadly, that is not what was signed. It was that, but it was modified after we saw it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what was signed.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to get down and technical with it,
Void?
the council did not necessarily approve the document that was signed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think to have that battle is way more expensive than what we're looking at.
Okay, so they want a definition of landscaping. Anything else?
That was primarily it. They want to know, you know, what we are looking at for a remedy. So aside from replacing or indemnifying the city to repair or replace that headstone,
And sprinklers.
So he wants us to tell him how to.
what we expect.
We need to make a comprehensive list of everything we don't want them to break.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessarily going to go that far. I was going as far as the scope of work. What is lands? Okay, so you know it's mowing the grass. You know it's weed whacking the grass.
We could do that.
Does it include blowing out the lines?
No,
Do
but see, we
consider
went
that?
through that several years ago about that blowing and stuff. Well, they'll come, that was an after. Yeah, we'll throw this in. We'll do this. You know, and it cost us a few shekels, didn't it? You remember, Stephen? We had to pay a little extra for blowing it out and stuff. But
Yeah, we didn't.
but still, no matter contract or not, they have a fiduciary. They have a responsibility when they're under contract to landscape. And if they go mowing sprinkler heads down and do damage, I think they should be liable for that.
Okay, well, damage is obvious. It's the scope of the services.
Yeah,
What
does
is-
it include blowing off the headstones?
Does it? Does
Yeah, and at times they have, and at times they haven't.
but if you say I'm hiring you to be doing all our landscaping,
Yeah.
is that what we would expect as part of that service?
But they say
I think it is.
But
Again,
yes.
I'm asking you guys. 'cause
Well, I think that's
don't
part of
wanna
the
have-
service too.
I think I have a pretty comprehensive list started, but I just want to hear
Well,
from
do.
you guys. If
And
there's something
it's
else.
interesting, this is just on a completely personal, because my grandparents, they never weed whacked around them, and the weeds were that tall around the tombstones. So I went up and weed whacked it, and I actually even picked up instead of throwing it out in the field, I picked it up and took it down to the green bin, which is, that's fine, but if we're contracting them for them to do that, there was no reason why I had to do it
Correct.
personally. Now, if you want to plant trees or flowers and all that stuff, that's not what we are expecting of them.
Yeah, I mean, is landscaping services including taking down dead or diseased or trees or branches that are hanging low? Does it involve?
We're not
picking
paying
up
them
branches?
enough to do all the dead trees
just-
up there.
So I think we should all come with our list to the next workshop, and we can discuss. We'll all bring a list. You bring a list. We'll all bring a list, and we'll figure out. We'll start honing in on commonalities.
Yeah.
I work for
really
a
agree.
landscaping company, so my list is.
But
Yeah, so I'd like
you
to
know,
hear-
you would know
Yeah.
if you signed a contract, what they would be
It's a-
expecting to be done.
in one of those paragraphs on the contract that last meeting we went through, there was some kind of claim. They were claiming that they do it. They do it. Basically, go the extra mile, and we do it professional, and we do this, and that.
In accordance with any other competitive
Yeah.
offering, I think that's not
To
the
that
language,
effect,
but it was
but-
to that. effect.
Common,
So-
consistent with common services or something like
Yes,
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
But then you got to look at what qualifies as above and beyond by today's standards.
Right,
you know,
right.
as opposed to
But even though they had this,
20 years ago.
there was a discrepancy. Some times that they just got done mowing, and the dandelions were still popped up. They weren't even mowing. So there's an inconsistency of the.
Yeah.
Does it include fertilizing? Does it include weed
Well-
feed? I mean, these are just all those questions. It's like, what?
Maybe those would be little extra options, but I think basic landscaping is you mow the grass, you pick up the clippings, you do the weed
And
whacking,
you pay for what you damage.
and you pay for what you damage, repair, replace.
Steve, not sure. There was a weed spray a few years ago added to that. They said we need it sprayed, so we paid them extra.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
To do that. But again, that's a piss poor contract written from the beginning.
Yeah. And the council owns some responsibility of getting us into this in multiple ways, myself included.
So the contract is still in place while we're arguing the issues of whether they're in default of contract or not.
Well, when they pay for all the sprinkler heads, we're good.
Okay, we are getting late, so our water system plan is almost done. The city has to get a couple of items done. One is I need to get covenants signed by the local property owners to well number 3. That basically says that they acknowledge that they will not be doing anything environmentally unsound. If it's within 100 feet of the wellhead, basically they're saying that they're not going to like put an underground oil tank in, or they're not going to dump antifreeze on the ground. Common sense stuff, but
And if they don't,
we haven't addressed that. But there's 4 property owners, and
It's about this well right here.
yeah, so 4 property owners that are within that 100-foot zone. So
Did they say anything about sewer lines? I know, break that up, did 100-foot buffer for sewer lines around that?
we're concentrated on the water system plan. So.
You know where I'm going with that.
Okay, so that's the one issue. The other issue is we're still scrambling to find any information on well number 2, which was
Dead
basic-
cat.
abandoned because it wasn't performing well. And I did find a map, it looked like in the 90s. I actually talked to one of the former council members that was on council, whose name was on the plan. They knew about it, and that was during Gilliland's area, so he didn't know much. But I can tell you from the plan, they literally moved the hole 6 feet to the south. That's all they did. So the well number 3 is just 6 feet away from well number 2 used to be. So.
I don't remember what.
interesting.
So, but I need that because there's some licensing issues where I'm sure because I thought they were moving at 6 feet, they didn't need to move the water rights, but technically it's a state thing. We have to move the water rights from well number 2 to well number 3. So.
Do they want to take any of them? They want to reduce them at all?
No. We're
Okay.
just getting them transferred. No one's
Okay.
trying to take them away. We're just trying to basically do the cleanup on the paperwork that probably
Right.
should have been done in the 90s. So, and whatever the engineer was at that time should have probably made sure that was done. But things were not done quite as tightly as they are now. So that's the update on that. That and. Quite honestly, we've got to show that our water rates and our water plan for the future is sustainable. 'Cause right now, based on the projections, what we're charging for water and what we're spending to maintain the water is not. So, wastewater treatment plant. I really wanted this done this year. It's been going on since 2019. I won't go into all the sort of details. I will be happy to have that conversation with anybody on a one-to-one basis, but it has gotten rather heated and hot on some topics. So I had to pull everybody into their own corners while things calm down. And I'm hoping to have a meeting between the powers of ecology, commerce, our engineer, and the city. I'm hoping to get that done next week and we can get everybody on the same page. I've been kind of having to mediate some things to get things back on track. The more I have learned about this, and I've talked about this in the past, it truly had, in my opinion, blossomed into a project that was never intended to begin with. So, as we've been peeling back those layers, we have been addressing different usage and deficiencies in the wastewater treatment plant. And that's going to be another topic that we're going to have about repairing some of the damage that is there, mostly due to age, wear, and not even wear and tear, just tear. Things that should have been moved on a regular basis haven't been, so there's certain things there that should be able to move and they're just corroded closed. And we're going to have to get all those addressed. So, I am hoping that I can get everybody back on the same page. I'm hoping that we can get a plan to ecology that they can approve. I'm hoping to get this thing done under budget. I think we can do it. No later by the beginning of summer next year, if I can get everybody back on track.
Well, thank you for all of your work on that. I know that those hours are very hidden from public view, and I thank you for that silent work.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to see, you can just look at the stack of binders and packages and crap on my desk. So, that's all I had.
Public comment?
Any comments, questions?
I wish I would've wrote them down, because I forgot now.
Plow truck?
Yeah, that'd be good. You can, I have plowing experience. I plowed for a child, we have a contract with them, and we use 1 tons with,
Oh.
with V-plows on them.
Okay.
So, a 1 ton with a V-plow, you can push a lot of snow with it.
Okay. We've got a snowplow right now, but it's very, it's a full-size, big monster. So,
Yeah, the one I use is 11-foot wide V-plow.
yeah, that was the idea, is just having something to tidy up around the corners and,
And if you ever go and purchase a plow, don't buy a straight blade, buy a V-plow.
Okay.
That's a lot better for cleaning, doing cleanup and,
one of the big differences is we probably have a straight plow sitting down in our yard. It just needs to be attached. So, but duly noted, if we have to buy, because I think you can easily spend $4 or $5 grand for a proper. More?
you're about 13,000.
Okay. So, okay, well, thank you. Okay, any other,
I'd just like to say real quick that my grandparents, Harry and Evelyn McCartney, were integral parts of this community for many decades. And I don't think there was a single person that ever had a bad thing to say about either one of them. If they did, they would be wise not to bring up to me. But with the passing of Grandma on the 26th and then Grandpa on the 1st, there's a big loss to this community. So,
I'm sorry for your loss.
sorry.
that's all.
Okay,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Meeting's adjourned at 8:53.